And good afternoon, and welcome to Sable's WorldForge. Well, good afternoon where I am, anyway. Good morning or good evening to you if you are in other parts of the world. My hair is a disaster. I'm getting it done tonight, so that's okay. Oh, hello, Barbarossa. Thank you for the posture check. Much appreciated. Hello, Macaro. Hello, Walking Dead. Welcome. Thank you to Midwife Kathy, who followed since our last broadcast. Awesome. Or maybe at the end of Aaron's broadcast. I didn't catch the end of his stream last time, so perhaps that is so. Behave. Yeah, so today I'm going to take on the new community challenge, the last community challenge of the year for World Anvil. I started working on something for it, and I've changed my mind about what I'm going to do. It gives me a wonderful opportunity to show you about writing by discovery, because as I was in the process of creating the organization of organizations that I was going to start with, I realized it's not actually this organization that I need to deal with, but its predecessor. So we're going to discuss that, and I'm going to set that up. I'm going to use the diplomacy web function because I have that with my level of membership, and I'm going to show you how to use the tags because I'm going to need to use them for this particular purpose. I don't normally use the tagging system on World Anvil. It's something that Dimitri set up, and you know, it just hasn't served a functional purpose for me yet, but today it will. So, and that's the cool thing about World Anvil, right? So much stuff, and you use what you need. So, Walking Dead says, I'm about a third done with it, feeling really good about this. Awesome, that's great. You're off to such a good start already. Macaro says, a third done already? Impressive. Yeah, I'm impressed. And then adds, I got like 250 words, and I'm going to have to completely rewrite it since I changed from 2 to 3 organizations. I don't know if that's a complete rewrite. You might be able to insert stuff in there as you go. I hope so anyway, because I kind of have to do that. In this particular case, right? Okay, so what I'm starting with is that in the prehistory of my Toy Soldier Saga world, right? The history of my Toy Soldier Saga universe, prior to where the novels are taking place. The novels start at the beginning of what I'm calling the Second Interstellar War, right? And there was a first Interstellar War, which is about the period of time that the Toy Soldiers Old School campaign is taking place. And that's on Monday nights, and yes, it will be back this week. So tune in tomorrow night. But yeah, 6 p.m. Pacific, if you don't know. Walking Dead, you should see the organization web, it's a mess. Well, yeah, I'm hoping mine will not be quite so much of a mess, because I'm going to use a tag that's specific to this group, and then just include that group in the web, right? But, okay, so at the beginning of the first Interstellar War, right, just as you might imagine, these are sort of analogs for World War I and World War II. Right, and just like World War I, the first Interstellar War was kind of a big surprise, right? And it started with, well, we think we know how it started now, right? But I'm not going to get into that today, and that's a spoiler for our game campaign, so I'm not going to tell you about that either. You're going to have to tune in to find out. But what I can tell you about is that obviously alliances formed in order to, you know, facilitate the war or protect oneself against aggression or whatever, right? So we're going to talk about that organization. I'm calling it the Solstice Pact, right? And it is a combination of organizations that were from our Fomorian races is what we're calling them. So orcs, goblins, ogres, trolls, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm going to be working on that totally from scratch. And I've got to start by looking up when the first Interstellar War started, right? Which I'm not sure I've put down on World Anvil yet or made up anywhere exactly. Then I've got to look up the inciting incidents that led to the process and kind of infer them, but not really talk about them in detail, right? Then I've got to come up with the names of the groups that joined, because I don't believe in just, okay, all the goblins joined. No, they didn't. All the goblins don't do anything. All the humans don't do anything, right? So why would all the goblins do anything? It's silly. So I've got to come up with names of worlds. Well, okay, I've got some names of worlds. Mostly I've got to come up with names of groups and civilizations within those worlds. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be like right from, you know, I don't start more bare bones than this usually. So should be fun. Walking Dead says there's a total of 10 in their web. That's amazing. Let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. It sounds pretty loud on my speakers, but same thing happened last week and it was fine apparently, so. And good evening, morning, afternoon, says Natalia, and good evening, morning, afternoon to you too. I think it's what, probably late evening for you, right? In the Netherlands? Glad to see you. Yeah. As always, this is the kind of more community-oriented stream that I do. So if you've got articles you want me to showcase, this is a good day to do that. And if you want to talk about what you're working on for the challenge or show off some of what you've done, then I'm happy to do that. So 22:15. Yeah. So like late, like 10:15 at night. Cool. Yeah. All right. So I think I'm going to, what have I got in my capture? I probably don't have anything useful in my capture yet. Where am I here? All right, we'll start here. That makes sense. Go to the main screen. There we go. Because we're not starting a sprint yet. I probably will do some work periods, focused work periods of 15 minutes with 5-minute breaks once we get going. I can't wait to show off the timer that Darth Nicholas made for me. It's freaking awesome. So, yeah. Alright, so I'll show you what I've started with here. Let's go to articles and categories. Alright, so what I've started with is the Fomorian Empire, which doesn't exist yet at the time period that I'm talking about. And this is part of what I was working on. I was starting a diplomacy web with them. There's a quote from the book, information. I'm not sure about these boxes. I'm a little concerned about creating the diplomatic boxes. I'm probably not going to fill in any of this information explaining the relationship, largely because I find they tend to eat word count, and I really suck at keeping these things under word count. So I'm probably just going to create the diplomatic tie, and until the challenge is judged, I'm not going to fill in any of that information. Right? Okay, so the key is my quote here. "Look around you at our great empire," he said, swinging his arm around them as if they could see out across the vastness of the occupied systems from their armchairs. "The only reason that any of this exists at all, this library, this nation, this tobacco even, is because our progenitors went far enough away from the elves that we could build ourselves up away from their hostile eyes. But we can't stay confined to these small worlds forever. If our people are ever to be something more than barbarians, more than mere animals who know nothing but murder and theft, we must be sure that the elves know to fear our steel and our cannons, especially the ones who fancy themselves as part of their imperial navy, since they take it upon themselves to police the stars against the orcish scourge." Clan Chief Doran Bloodfist. Very important character that I can't wait for you guys to meet. So, and you get to meet him in book 1. You don't have to wait till book 2. He exists in book 1, so he's like, he might be my favorite character in the whole thing. I like him and I like what he represents, so. Alright. We got the glasses on, we're serious now, right? Okay, so history. This is an important part of stuff here. And I don't even have all the species made up yet. So, this is kind of my starting point. Now we'll go back to our dashboard. And we will create our organization. So this is where I started yesterday. And this is what made me think, okay, no, it's actually the original organization that I need to cover here. Right? The Empire began its life as an alliance of starfaring Fomorian peoples who banded together for self-protection during the First Interstellar War. Confronted with the overwhelming military force of the Avalonian Imperial Navy, they formed the Solstice Pact to codify their obligations and roles within the alliance. Orcs, ogres, trolls, and a handful of giants agreed to accept the responsibility for most of the direct fighting, while goblins agreed to accept most of the new Fomorian Navy's support roles. Female orcs, who were banned from participating in warfare by most orcish cultures, also agreed to serve in healing and support roles. That's the key, right? And this is where I was last night when I went to bed, and I woke up this morning and I went, okay, no, I need to write about the Solstice Pact, not about the Fomorian Empire. So, that is what we're working on today. Hey, Dazzlecat, how you doing? Nice to see you. Welcome. Yes, I'm delving into the challenge from, like, absolute square one. So, organization title, the Solstice Pact. Type. Definitely not a consortium or a corporation. It's not a court system. It's not about education. Geopolitical, perhaps. I like very much the fact that clan is included as a geopolitical organization. Dazzlecat is doing good. That's great. Nice to hear. It's not an empire yet. What the hell is a stratocracy again? Well, that's what Google's for. Government by military forces. That's closer to what we're doing. Okay. It's not a guild. It's not criminal. You could call it kind of a military, but I'm pretty sure that nothing specific under military is going to work for this. Could sort of call it a navy, but or a space navy rather. I love the fact that space navy is its own thing. Dimitri, I love you. I'm just saying. I know that's your fault, and I love it. Okay. Political alliance. That might be it. I love that we also have religious coven. Thank you. Thank you for being inclusive. Okay, I think we're going to call it a political alliance. Yeah, that seems to me to be the best deal here. Alliance. I'm probably even going to use the same quote. I might use a different quote later, but that seems to me to be the logical quote. So why don't I just edit this, and then I can steal the BB code and move it right over too, which would be sensible. Never do work twice if you can avoid it. There we go. you say? Are we at a point, do you think, are you guys here to get some work done? Do you guys want to do some sprinting periods? We could totally do that. Otherwise, I can just like putter here around in the background. That's good. Sounds good to Dazzlecat. Anyone else? Not a lot of us here. Oh wait, no, 10 people crept in here while I wasn't looking. Hey, Aegon, nice to see you. Welcome. Makara could use a few sprints. Great. Okay, good enough for me. I get to show you my cool window. Check this out. This is the coolest thing. Darth Nicholas made me matching timers for both my major streams. And the WorldForge timer, which you're going to see Aaron can also use. It's kind of designed to match both of our, branding. So, such as it is. And Natalia's on board too. Okay, great. Let's do it. All right, everybody ready? 15 minutes, uninterrupted work. I'll probably yammer away about what I'm doing in the meantime, if you guys don't find that distracting. If you do, let me know, and I'll just be silent. We have music for a reason, right? All right. Ready? And go. See, in the dark corner here, isn't that cool? Yammer away. All right. So then, the Solstice Pact is an alliance of, it was an alliance, this is past tense in the current date of my world, was an alliance of, I actually have Fomorian peoples, starfaring, that's important, spacefaring. Spacefaring Fomorian peoples who banded together for mutual protection and defense at the outbreak of the First Interstellar War. The alliance included, and now this is my first period where I have to look something up. First thing I have to look up is a map. Maps. You're going to get to see a hidden map in our systems and wormholes here, which is normally only for patrons, because it's like secret stuff, because I kind of need to see the whole map. There. We need to kind of update this map, but okay, I'm going to rename this, I've decided, to Solstice. So Pax is Solstice. Okay, I'm going to say Solstice, Isa, Starkiller Systems. With signatories from Gorna, Carthan, Telesia, and Draconia, and maybe Orish. Orish, yes. No, Nardak. Nardak makes more sense. No. Shit. Okay. And this included signatories from get the right window. Okay. One orish, that's the logical one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 star systems. Okay, that's what I needed to know. 8 star systems. And goblins, giants, trolls, orcs, ogres. Good enough. And 5 different species. It later became the foundation of the foundation, the pact, I'll call it, just because the pact later became the foundation of the Fomorian Empire. Crap on my keys. And this is one of those areas where it might actually be of benefit to use a key value system in the sections, but we'll go into that in a bit. Motto: strength and unity. Alternative names: the Fomorian Pact, the Fomorian Axis. It's probably what the elves would call them, right? Thanks for the cheering. The Sable cheer. That's kind of cool. Oh yeah, emotes. I made some. I don't know if they've shown up yet. Took me a while to figure out. It kept saying, oh, you get more emotes for your subscriber points. And I'm like, okay, and where do I put them in? And I couldn't find it, but I found it. So I made a bunch of those last night. Oh, we have more emotes. Awesome. I love those, the diamond badge with the shades. It's just the coolest thing. DM Stretch's stuff is in there too, which is awesome. Fomorian Pact, the Fomorian Axis. We'll leave that for now. Don't have to think too hard about it at the moment. Don't exactly want too many words in this anyway. Fomorians is the obvious demonym. Founding date. There's the rub. Now we're going to go to timelines and calendars and see if I actually put this in here. I already have to rearrange a timeline because I have conveniently been given a better way to keep track of it. thanks to Artie, who made me a time converter between my two calendars. So, eventually the Fomorians will have their own calendar, but they don't currently, because they're using the Avalonian calendar, which is the calendar of known space, because the Avalonians were the first into space, as far as anybody knows. History of the Interstellar Wars. This is what I need. If I actually put anything in it yet, which I'm not sure of. I did. Good for me. Oh. And I think that date's wrong too. I gotta edit. Well, shit. Okay, I was not kind to myself, so now I have to figure it out. Curses. Alright, but we can do this. You know what? We're going to leave this timeline up so we can edit it as we go. Because again, why do work twice? I have a whole bunch of stuff I should close down here. Okay, I don't need either one of these windows. I don't need that one anymore. Definitely don't need that one at the moment. I might need those later. I think I have two of those windows open, so this one can go. Okay, and now where we're at. Alright. That one can go too. Sometimes I have to do this in order to get my brain around things. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look shit up. We're going to go to campaigns. More cheering, thank you. It's helpful. What I need here is the starting date of this campaign. Well, this is no help. Alright. Too much information! Well, actually, what I need is the current date, don't I? No, that doesn't tell me a thing. Okay, fine. Do this the hard way. Hopefully this isn't going to crash my stream. Because the problem is when I open up this page, it's often showing my... Oh, by the way, I'd like to thank you guys. In the past couple of days, or like the past week or so, Starseed Pollination and the First Starship Classification System were both daily featured articles, and I really appreciate that, guys. Thanks for the support. Phew! Okay, so the campaign started 14 Flower Moon, 4639 Avalonian calendar. So it has to happen after that. Now, I have to double check something else. So this is one of those, I only make what I absolutely have to make when I have to make it, right? Unless I'm doing a challenge. Now you may wonder, why am I going here? You're liking backwards, Sable? Oh, am I backwards? I probably am. Uh-oh, dropping a lot of frames. Wah wah. Oh, I'm almost out of my time for my sprint anyway here. No, I flipped the email. Oh, you did too! Oh my god, that's cool! Almost looks like we're dancing, except that, you know, we have, like, pistols in our hands. It's awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. That's pretty great. I might have to do that sometime. That's cool. Okay, we need to look at... It always tells me not to look at the nations, and that's the important thing. So we'll start that after the break. Because it's important when you're doing this to make sure you take your breaks, right? Because that's no good. Taking the break is what makes you focus and get the work done. Yeah, so I love this timer, right? This is the background. It's the text is on the background that comes from, like, as you can see, it's behind my little window here, right? And it's also the background that's in behind of the splash screens. So, Darth Nicholas, you know, set it up with that background, which I think is really cool. The only drawback to it was that the background was big, so I had to actually make the file size smaller. I had to convert it, so it would actually, so that Twitch Studio would use it. Mikara says, alright, rewrote from 249 to 347, working in the 3rd organization. Good for you. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm probably not going to get into a lot of details about the individual organizations. I can't afford to do that with my word count, I have found. So what I will probably do is use the quick create thing as I go to create my separate organizations and have like little tiny blurbs on all of them. They'll all be stubs. You know, I don't care. They'll probably get fleshed out, some of them during World Ember, but until then, I'm not going to worry about it because gotta be brief. Hi, Song, welcome. You have arrived on a break. But don't forget that this is the community stream, so you guys want to interrupt me at any time to have a look at your articles or whatever, you are quite welcome to do that. Hey, Makaro says, I'm going to write the 3 organizations, even though they don't count for the word count and won't be taken into account by the judges. And that's fair. You might have to do that in order to keep it straight in your head. Jokes has arrived. He is peeking over the balcony. Welcome. Or, well, they. I actually don't know whether Jokes is he, she, they, or whatever. So, yeah. Good to see you, though. Dad says, I'm thinking about what alliance I'll write about. I know, I had a hard time settling on this, right? Like I said, I started by doing the Fomorian Empire, and then I realized it's actually the Solstice Pact, which formed the Fomorian Empire, that I probably needed to write about. That was more in the spirit of the challenge, because, I mean, it doesn't say so, right? I mean, the rules are an organization of organizations, but I felt that, you know, the meaning is alliance, and an empire isn't exactly alliance, right? It's subject peoples. So I thought I'd, you know, start with the alliance. So we can do... But there's other things that I was thinking about doing, like there's an alliance of thieves guilds and assassin guilds that spreads across a couple of planets that I thought might be, well, a few planets that might be fun, but there's some serious spoilers in that. And I thought about doing the Paradosian Council, this little world here that you see on the screen right now. Excuse me, it's the world of Parado, which I made for the Geography Challenge. And It's they've got a very unusual system of government that involves representatives and a governor and a military aspect. So I thought that could be fun, but um, I thought this was more needed for my world, the one I'm working on, and that's kind of how I prioritize things. And then there's also an alliance that was formed on the world of Carthan to take down a tyrannical empire. And the history of that is something I've already touched on in other articles and other stories, right? And it's kind of an important background piece of information. So I thought about that too. But um, yeah, ultimately I thought this had the most need. That's why I'm doing it. So. Stealth check failed, says Dazzlecat to Jokes. Jokes says, "You know, I knew I shouldn't have peeked over that wall." Esong says, it can be of there's tribes being held together. Yes, and that's a thing. Oh, there's my dragon roars here. Natalia did 212 words. And Esong says, that's a good system of prioritization. I got none. Didn't even turn on my laptop, says Daz. Well, maybe you can now, because we're starting a new sprint. All right. So where was I here? I was looking up when these things were settled, because that's important. Okay. So what year did I decide? Now I got to cross-reference with something else. Okay. I don't have my timelines properly organized yet. Guess I should move to the committee and be productive? Not necessarily. Remember, you can always, ask me to do a showcase or, something like that. That's totally fine. That's what this is for. Dazzlecat says, large dog cuddling, can't get up. Luckily, I got pencil and notebook at hand for some brainstorming. That's great. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm looking up. I need to look up Peridot, is what I need to look up. So that would be under known space. And that's what I wanted right there. Goodbye, napping couch. This article's huge. It's huge because it's graphic intensive, right? I'm not dropping frames? Holy crap, I'm stunned. Alright. My map isn't even finished loading yet. Okay, so Skyreach already exists. I think Skyreach was my first culture, so I can call that the founding of... Okay. That's what I needed to know. Okay, so counting everything from there. Let's see. Okay, so that's 470 years ago. And if 470 years ago was... See, this is why I need timelines. I have to think when it comes to math. It's not my... I can do it. I was in an honors math class most of my high school years, but I believe I have dyscalculia. It wasn't diagnosed. They didn't even consider stuff like that for girls at the time. It was thought to be a boys' thing, dyslexia, even. Right? And I absolutely flunked the last, well, okay, I didn't. I actually passed, but barely by the skin of my teeth the last year, grade 12 math, right? So I can do it, but I have to think about it, right? So, okay, 451 AC is when it was founded. Okay, so, and that's the year 1, according to World Spinner. So what I need to know aha. Okay, I might need the spoilers, so avert your eyes there, E-Song, because okay, nope, that's not what I need. Good. Alright, you can look back now. It's spoilers for the Toy Soldier old school campaign, and I don't want to... I suppose now that this challenge is done, rather than putting it in spoilers like that, I can put it in secrets. Okay, I gotta fix that, obviously. Okay, so 40 years later is when... Alright. Okay, and we've kind of roughly decided that that was the thing. Okay, 40 years later that happened. I doubt that happened in the same year as... So there's probably some argument over when exactly the first interstellar war started. Well, shit, I need to know what the current date of the campaign is. That's probably my key. Okay. I should probably say something to Dimitri about this. This has been kind of messed up for a while, and we used to get a lot of viewers who just kind of stop by our campaign and, you know, check it out from there. God damn it. Ah! Okay, I cannot find what the current date is. And that is a problem. Leader title. Did I make one yet? No, okay. I'm gonna wait for my first break, which is coming up imminently here, and then I'm gonna go ask Aaron what the damn date of the campaign is. In the meantime, create new article and link it. Leader title. Hi, a war chief, actually. War chief. Or should I call it Iron Champion, because it evolved into the Iron Champion later on. What do you guys think? Should I call it War Chief is what they called it at the time. And eventually the title evolves to become the Iron Champion. Yeah, I'll just mention that in the article. War Chief. There we go. Thought it through myself. See, I do that a lot, actually, when I'm working, which is why it's kind of fun to have, you know, people who are watching the stream that I can do that with. No chat input needed. Well, you know, when you say an idea out loud, like you're going to express it to somebody, sometimes it helps you to clarify things in your own head, and then you know what you want to do, right? Happens to me a lot. I also run my ideas by people, and I go, do you think I should do X or Y? And they'll say Y, and then I'll go, okay, but I think actually now that I've talked to you, I'm going to do X. You know, and they're like, well, why'd you ask my opinion? Because I needed a sounding board, that's why. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting feature that I did not know. Family leader. Use this only if the organization is a family. Selecting a family leader will inject a full width family tree on this article. This option is only available in Master Plus Guild members. Well, shit, that's going to come in handy when I start doing my Orcish clans. Parent organization. It has none. Geographic location. Used to define where it exists. Watch this. You're gonna like this one. Known space. Okay, related ethnicities. There are a few. The Balorians don't exist yet. Bartor. Belawani. Kavirda. Well, I have decided to do Fomorian as its own ethnicity, and it's just a broader ethnicity. Fomorian Orc. Indigenous Orc. The Parrot. Definitely no elves. Okay, and that's all I got so far. There will be more. Organization structure defines the hierarchy of titles within it. Describes the major roles and their responsibilities in the organization. Examples of these roles are the King of a Kingdom, the Treasurer of a Merchant's Guild, the Acolyte of a Religious Order. Okay, see you in a minute, Stretch. Just happened to catch that. No worries. I also saw The Walking Dead was rebooting. That's cool. Okay. So what are the important titles? The War Chief is the one in charge. Then we have, underneath the War Chief, we have different leaders of different groups. Alright, so actually, I should just add them with the @ sign, so I'm thinking of a War Chief. Huh, that went quickly. Alright, so actually rather than doing this 5-minute function break, I'm going to take my hourly break here. I'm going to switch to the downtime screen so I can quickly catch up in the chat. Then I'm going to put my break screen up and I go ask my husband what the hell the current date of the campaign is. Okay, so what I miss? I did catch a couple of things, but I was trying not to be too distracted. Dazzle Cat was being cuddled by a large dog, so she couldn't get up. Luckily, she's got a pencil and notebook in hand for some brainstorming, which is good. Dazzle Cat says, keep writing stuff near all napping zones for emergencies. Actually, that's very good advice, right? If you keep like a notebook beside wherever you sleep, then sometimes when you're falling asleep in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, but I've got this cool idea. You can reach over to your table, grab your notebook, you know, old tech, right? Low tech, right? And actually, here, check this out. See? Low tech. The hubby just got this for me. It's upside down. There we go. Isn't that cool? It's a little leather-bound notebook. It's all, you see the compass here and a ship's wheel here. Right? My hubby knows me really well. Because I didn't have one. I was out of notebooks, so he got me one. So, you know, pages I can replace. They're all like, you know, in this papyrus or parchment color, right? But notice the snappy thingy there. Right? And a bookmark with an anchor on it. So, yes, you take your low-tech notebook, not your high-tech notebook, and you put it beside your bed or wherever you sleep. If you sleep on the couch a lot, you put it there. And it's helpful for a lot of reasons. If you're nodding off, you can, you know, and you know, but all of a sudden this brilliant, massively cool idea comes to you right as you're falling asleep and you're like, oh, I gotta get up and write it down. No, you don't. You put your notebook right there. You don't have to go anywhere. You just do it there, right? And then you can go back to sleep because you wrote down the idea so you wouldn't forget it. Or if you wake up in the middle of the night from a dream and you're like, ah, yes, that's what I do, eureka, then you can do that. Very handy for writers. Writers should always have these, no matter how sophisticated World Anvil is, right? So, that's my opinion. Because you just never know. Carry that around with you and you know, when you're at the supermarket, unless of course you do what I do, which is bring your phone with you and do it there. But, alright. E-Song says, I might have too. Went to get out of the couch and accidentally rolled on the floor. Oh no! Thankfully still in very padded blankets, so still comfy. I'm not even getting up. Oh my god, are you okay? Dazzlecat says, progress. You're one roll closer to the computer. E-Song says, reach 30 rerolls. E-Song says to Stretch, just woke up from a nap, so I'd wish you good morning. I don't think it's morning for anyone anymore. It's morning in Asia. It has to be because it's like 11 o'clock at night in the Netherlands. So it's got to be like bright and shiny for Chrysalia and Coffee Quills and all our Aussie friends. So Too late for morning. You saw says Dazzle Cat. You're part of the world. It's always morning somewhere in the world. Walking Dead is back. Good to see you again. Stretch just did his weekly Diablo stream. That's cool. It's 4 p.m. for Esong, right? And for Swan. And hello, Swan. Nice to see you. I wanted to know that too. How was the game? Esong asks Stretch. Stretch says the game was great. Had fun. I think I got a whole one viewer, though, who didn't chat. Oh. I'm sorry, I missed your stream, unfortunately. I was setting up for my stream, so chances are I'll miss that stream on a regular basis. I apologize. I watch whatever your other streams, though, so. Okay. Esong says, I'm probably going to stream after Kahuna. I think I know there are other people on there, but it's the only time this week I'll be able to stream. Okay, so Anvilite, other way. Anvilite Streamer Core, right? There are more than 50 members. There's no way we're going to be able to avoid overlapping each other, right? I'd say, personally, I try very hard not to bunch up where there's already a bunch of stuff going on. Like, I really don't like the fact that I have to stream on Monday night because there's so many other people in the core who are streaming at that time, and people end up having to decide who they're going to support and what they're going to watch, and I don't want to put people in that position, right? But unfortunately, that's the only time we can do our game, so that's when it has to be, right? So I try to avoid those, but otherwise, you know, right? Then my priority works like, okay, so, you know, Delian's doing an art stream, and I'm doing a writing stream, and these are two different things, so it's two different audiences. It's probably fine, you know? So, yeah, go ahead and stream after Kahuna. I don't think there's a lot. Here. Go to the main and I'll have a look. See who's on. We, of course, will be rating Kahuna as we do every Sunday. Yep, because it's Kahuna Reads, and, you know, damn it, I refuse to miss that on the grounds of I refuse to miss that. Okay, yeah, so after Kahuna, we have Roll Society's Cunning Limited campaign, and we have Davina doing her lore and mechanics. She's working on curses today, how to use them, and how to root them into the lore of your world. Example, vampirism. Well, yeah, she's definitely the expert on vampires. She might know more than I do about it. I'm pretty sure she does, and I've done a lot of research on this because I used to be, like, one of the first stories I was working on was vampires, so definitely cool. Oh, and then after her is Basic Dragon, who is world streaming nano prepping. Neat. So, yeah, there unfortunately is a lot going on that I even personally would like to see. So, but I don't blame you at all, Esong. You gotta stream when you gotta stream. And they are actually very different things, right? Like, you're gonna be working on your world building and the challenge, I'm sure, right? Davina is doing lore and mechanics, right? And, you know, that's going on for at least a couple hours, right? And then, you know, this is a role-playing game, so it's different stuff. So I think you're good. I think you're fine. Okay. All right. And yeah, I will probably watch you. So. Swan doesn't usually chat when they are doing housework, which seems logical. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sorry your chat wasn't more interactive too there, Stretch. Esong says, sorry your chat wasn't more interactive, but I'm glad you still had fun. That's the important thing. Absolutely it is. Esong says, my brain has fallen asleep. Maybe your leg and my brain will wake up together because Dazzlecat's leg has fallen asleep because the dog is on it. I had that problem last night. I was covered in cats. We've won, by the way. The stray that we were trying to win over, Ash, has moved in. He has decided that this is home now. And this was driven by two things. One is that my three-legged cat was almost eaten by owls. He was rescued by the neighbors who, and then, like, far away, right? Like a few houses over, farther than he goes, usually, with his 3 legs. So I suspect he was chasing the kids to keep an eye on them, because they're about a year old, we've now learned, because Smokey had her first trip to the vet. And yeah, so the neighbors rescued him from where he was cowering under a lilac bush while being chased by the owls, and kept him in their garage for the night. And then they posted his picture on Facebook, and one of our good friends, Dawn, who plays in the Monday Night Campaign, happened to see him. Otherwise, we might not have gotten our cat back. Well, okay, we would have eventually, because he's got a tattoo in his ear, and they'd have called us, but, you know, we got him back right away, right? And so I brought them over some banana bread, because awesome for rescuing our cat, right? Thank you. But since then, they've been keeping close to the house, and between that and the fact that I think I figured out Ash's love language, they moved in. Ash likes to play. I found out when I played with him. After that, he decided that he was my cat. So, all right. So I'll show you him sometime if he comes in. All right. Esong says, "Try kicking me." Jazza Cat says, "Can't. Pinned under large dog." Yep. I'm glad you enjoyed your game, Stretch. That's good. Even though it wasn't that interactive. Sometimes this middle of the day stream, especially on Sundays, can be kind of a weird one too. Sometimes you get a fairly large audience, and sometimes it's really quiet. And it all depends on what people are doing on the weekend, right? So don't take it personally. No, Natalia's out. Okay, I'm sorry if I missed you saying goodbye. Goodbye, 184 words is awesome. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me. Huh. Esong says, yeah, but then I can't read my handwriting. Mikaro did 207 words. Excellent. Esong says, I end up using my phone's recorder to get ideas captured. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, sure, that works too. I've done that too. You use the voice recorder and you go, hey, I've got this great idea. Da, 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 da. I've done that. I woke up and I had songs in my head. So take the recorder. The best thing you can do is just sing it, right? And then you remember. Swan has a notebook like that too. Cool. Daz says it's awesome. Yes, I agree. I think it's awesome. The hubby has good taste sometimes. Mikaro recently bought a few notebooks, but his wife saw the second and went, mine. Legit. Dark and spoopy here, says Delian. Hello, Delian. Welcome. Those are pretty convincing grounds. Yeah, that's what Esong says. How much longer? Okay, I'm almost caught up. Mikaro says, I need to figure out the derogative term for the upper class people that are still old-fashioned and insist on things should be done like X, not Y, you uncouth savage. Do I call them conservatists or traditionalists? You call them neocons. Okay, no, sorry. Badoom-tish. Okay, yeah. The old guard, the conservatives, not conservatists though, right? Because conservatists, I think, would derive from conservation, like, you know, wildlife parks, I think. Might want to look that one up. Okay. Dazzle Cat can now move because her dog has gotten off to chew a bone. Freedom for the leg. Yay, Ash. Yay for home. Yay for banana bread. Good to know that my cats and whatnot have encouragement. And yes, banana bread is awesome. I agree. And Kit has arrived. Hello, Kit. Welcome. Okay, quick break. Bio break and ask the hubby what the hell the date is in the campaign currently. And I will be right back. So don't go away. Actually, nope, wrong one. Whoops, I made a downtime. I made a be right back. There it is. Ha, see? What? Why is my thing not starting? I have a countdown and everything. Why is it not starting? Start when visible. Start. And we're back. I like that timer thing. Helps me keep track better of how much time I've wasted. So I can be like, oh, I don't really want to keep people waiting for 10 minutes, do I? No, I don't. So, all right. Catching up on the chat here. DM Stretch suggests toffee nose is a derogatory term for posh people. Their nose is always stuck in the air, stuck up. And Kit thought that was pretty good. Question is whether Makaro liked it. Stretch says, I usually follow that term with other words that I will not mention here. Me too. Walking Dead ordered some Domino pizza and will have fun writing their article with greasy hands. Been there. Yep. Domino's is pricey in the UK, says Stretch. It's like the cheap pizza here in Canada, right? And it's made that way, so I usually don't get it. Especially because, well, except they're one of two places that have a gluten-free option, right? You know, if I want the cheap gluten-free option, I get Domino's, so. All right. Better than Pizza Hut, says Walking Dead. Pizza Hut in town went out of business during COVID. We had a Pizza Hut, now we don't. Call them Domino's and reverse engineer it for their worlds. Dazzle Cat's like, yay! I am back at the charts. These are the title charts you were talking about, eh? What the hell actually is it? Like, are you trying to, like, keep track of, like, the rate of the tide? Or I'm missing out. Domino's in the UK is good, says Stretch. If they have a gluten-free option, then in the inevitable time that I eventually accomplish my bucket list and visit the UK, which is looking more and more likely now that I know World Anvil people that I might be able to crash on couches of, possibly, for a couple days. Not saying anything, just saying. But, yeah, I intend to visit the UK at some point, and I will be sure to have their Domino's and compare. That can be fun. If you go to another place where you think the food's the same, it's generally not. So, yeah, that might be good. Can you post a link? Yes, you absolutely can, Daz. No pizza for me. It doesn't like me at all, no matter what it's made of. That's interesting. Yeah, generally, okay, I have two challenges when dealing with pizza. So naturally, pizza is one of my favorite foods. And that is that I can't have lactose and I can't have gluten. So my favorite breakfast in the world used to be cold pepperoni pizza. However, I find we often really enjoy the things that are not good for us that way, right? But I have found ways around to make my favorite food because I love it. So DM Stretch says, speaking of which, I have pizza in the oven right now. Only cheap shop bought one though. Those can be good though. I wish I could eat them. They don't. Well, actually, I lie. They make one I can eat like that. That's pretty good. It's not. I mean, it's not as cheap as the actual cheap put the pizza in the oven pizza, but it's cheaper than getting it from the pizza place. So, yeah, sounds good. I'll start looking like a damn pizza soon if I don't sort my diet out. Totally been. Yeah, I get you. Blessed Thistle. Take Blessed Thistle caplets and it helps with acne. If someone had told me this as a teenager, I would have had a much happier life. I'm just saying. Oh, that's sweet, Stretch. Cool. He says, awesome, you and Aaron are always welcome here. Well, that'd be fun. Cool. I might take you up on that. I just might. Sorry, excuse me. Kit says one of the groups in my alliance is going to be vampires. Excellent. And I've never done vampires in my setting. trying to stay agile and not go overboard with vampire houses, clans, bloodlines, etc. What would be a good overall name for a vampire group? What binds them together would be the question I would ask. What is it, like, were they a group before they joined the alliance, or were they a group because they're part of the alliance, right? And either one's fine. So gluten-free dough and lactose-free cheese then. Yes, unfortunately. If I can't get lactose-free cheese, what I'll do is I'll get some lactose-free cheese myself and melt it on the pizza afterwards. I can't even do goat cheese. It's just horrible. I can't do it. Vengeance for the death of the moon goddess. Awesome. That's for the vampires. The Midnight Pact. The Eclipse Alliance. The New Moon Covenant. The Blood Moon Covenant. I don't know. Kit, you should check out Davina's stream tonight, says Esong. Yes, you should, Kit, because she is talking about dealing with vampires in your setting and other curses specifically. So that probably is exactly what you should be having a look at. Definitely. Bob has arrived. Dinosaur Bob, welcome. Okay, I'm going to go and have a look at Daz's link. Your arrival is timely there, Bob. We're about to go and look at something that Daz has made for Synergazia. Yeah, see, so there's Davina's stream there right at the top of Monday. That will be, let's see, Kahuna streams for how long after me? Right? Okay, so 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we're 3 hours. So starting 3 hours from now, I guess, is when, is that right? Did I get that right? Let's see. 1, 2, no, half an hour, right? Okay. 1, 2, 2, yeah, 2 hours from now. 2.5 hours from now. No. Yeah, no, I was right. Okay. He only streams for an hour. Alright, so then. We're gonna look at this. The title charts of Synergazia. This is what Daz is working on. What are the title charts? Lists of days and times of day informing when a tide will happen and what type it will be. Cool. Right, it's got 2 moons, right? So tides are very different on Synergazia. How you use them is however you wish to interpret them. Time of day, they're vague in order to allow variances in regions or writer choice. These times of day are what I plan to use for my region and can be whatever you wish. Dawn, rising of the sun. Morning, time of day between dawn and high sun. High sun, time of day when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. Dayfall, the time of day between high sun and dusk. Dusk, the setting of the sun. Deep night, the middle of the night. Makes sense? Types of tides. These are the types of tides I will be using within the charts. The most of these are only the natural phenomena of tides, so you can very easily alter them as you see fit. Ebb tide, when the seas move away from shores and out to sea. The waters on the shore will recede, revealing part of the sea floor. Low tide, lowest ebb tide of the day. Flow tide, when the seas move back to the shores, covering the sea floor that the ebb tide has revealed. High tide, highest flow tide of the day. Rip tide, strong tide that pulls most things in it out to sea. It can also pull small things like people underwater. Very dangerous for those who are not sea dwellers, often leads to drowning. Yep. Surge tide, a strong tide that rushes back into shore, pushing things in it into the shore and often leaving it stranded. Those on the seafloor, when it rushes in, can be knocked over, rolled along the seafloor, and driven up onto the shore. Crimson Tide, deadly tide hurling out to sea, strong enough to pull large things like boats or even ships under the water, or something else entirely. Monster Tide, deadly surge tide that comes in like a tidal wave, or it can be something else entirely. I imagine when both moons are creating the same kind of tidal pull together, that would be likely. An even tide, when all the tides during a day are the same size, no high tide, no low tide. The charts. It takes 7 years to repeat themselves on Sendergazia. I've made a chart for each year. There is, however, one special chart called Rogue Tides. This chart happens every 21 years with the double solar eclipse. Cool. If you just want a simple chart, use year 1 and every 21 years the Rogue Tide chart. If you want to fully use the charts, use all 7 yearly charts 3 times to cover 21 years. Replace the last 7th year chart with the Rogue Tide chart for year 21. Finally, the charts are not divided into weeks or months, but simply clumps of days when the tides are the same. That is fascinatingly cool. I do not have the slightest clue how to figure that out. How the two moons would both interact to create a cycle of tides. That is really interesting. Like, very cool. All right. Yeah. Oh no, goat cheese! No, goat cheese looks at you with extreme compassion and pity. I love goat cheese too, of course. I love all cheese. But actually, there's a really good lactose-free, what the hell is it? It's not goat cheese. They don't claim it's goat cheese, but there's a lactose-free Parmesan that they make that, actually tastes a lot like goat cheese. So I'm good. It's okay. Mikara says, I do like Old Guard as a spoken term, but I want a more official name for the faction, which makes it very clear that they're in the way of progress. Was there a monarchy? You could call them the monarchists. The traditionalist seems likely. Here, this is what I do when I'm trying to come up with crap like that. Let's go to thesaurus.com. It's a wonderful little tool. We don't have to own a thesaurus anymore. And let's type in traditionalist and see if it'll give us that. If not, I'll look up conservative. So Tory, that's one thing. Tories were a name given to various parties, places, starting in the UK, but also much of the Commonwealth. Like in Canada, the Conservative Party at least used to be known as the Tories. They're often not anymore because they're more neocons now and taking on a decidedly Republican tone, which I'm not happy about. The bourgeois. Yeah. Those would be orthodox, would be another one. Because unorthodox is breaking with tradition. Traditionalistic. Old Guard. It includes it. Alright. So those are some options. I wonder if any of those... Yeah, I spot Old Guard. Alright, let's look up tradition as well, or traditional, just to see if that has any different. The classics, the classicists, that could be like classic is given as a synonym, right? The conventionalists, the doctrinal party. Yeah, so those are some options. Maybe some of those will be helpful. That's what I do. Oh, wrong thing. Where is it? All right. Kit says, I'm scared to get into vampires because elven shoes, and the vampires are only one of the groups. Fair enough. You kind of have to decide how much you need to write in order for this to make sense to you. I'm probably, at least to start with, not going to do a huge amount about each of the specific organizations within my organization. I'm going to create little blurbs and then go from there. But it's actually going to be pretty complex because it spans several civilizations on a bunch of different worlds. So, Stretch says, ooh, vampires. Please tell me Davina isn't streaming at the same time as you, E-Songbird. If she is, I'll catch her VOD. Yes, she is. So, that is unfortunate. I would really like to encourage people to support Davina. She's new to streaming. She's been a long time Inner Sanctum member, and she's really shy. Right? But her work is amazing, especially if you're interested in anything related to Pathfinder and like systems creation. She's stunningly good at it. I am learning a lot from watching her, but I usually also catch her VODs, right? And I find that frustrating because I'd rather be there to support her live stream. It can be very discouraging when you start to stream and there's not a lot of people that show up, right? So I want to encourage you to support her. I also want to encourage you to support Esong because Esong is amazing, right? And she can only stream when she can these days, so you kind of got to take them as they come. So make sure you at least watch Davina's VOD if you're at all interested in that kind of thing. She also did some amazing CSS work. I think not the last stream, but the stream before. So you might want to check those out when you're checking out her VODs. Yeah. Dad says, I'm working on part 1. Makara says, ah, crap, rat fight. Ah, okay, well, there you go. Okay, Esong says, she's streaming right after Kahuna. I'm thinking of streaming after her, though, because I'm really interested in what she has to say. It might just be that I don't stream today, and that's okay, too. No, I want you to stream. I would like to see your stream. That would be good. Don't not stream because you're, like, you know, hesitating over streaming with people. That's silly. Okay. Either way, Stretch is in. I'm in, too. Makara says, I'm guessing you'd use a triple sinus wave for the, oh yeah, right? For the 2 moons and their tidal effects? Oh. I need to know this information, actually, right? Eventually I'm going to have to do this because a couple of the worlds have 2 or even 3 moons, and I'm going to have to take that into account. So, Republican, says Esong? You said it, not me, Songbird, says Kit. I spot Old Guard. Yeah, that was in the synonyms. Yeah. I might stream after Lorraine tomorrow as there is a gap, says DM Stretch. That'd be cool. Guys, please try to put your stuff in the calendar, even if it's like, you know, only a few hours before you actually stream, if you can. This is not an official request from, like, anybody in the ASC. This is totally Diane going, please do that, because then I know it's on, and I can plan when I can do things, because then I can catch some streams and try to work around them. A lot of people, okay, you know, you gotta, if you gotta stream spontaneously, you gotta stream spontaneously, right? But then I find I'm like, oh shit, I missed that stream, and I missed this stream, and, you know, the fact is I'm never going to catch up with the VODs. I'm just not, you know, and I'm, you know, so, like, I would really appreciate as much notice as you can possibly give me. I recognize that may not be possible. Okay. I can have both open and flip between, says Walking Dead. I may have done that once or twice with a few streams. Makara says, I see conventionalism is quite a lot about unwritten societal rules, so conventionalist works well. Thanks. Awesome. Great. Glad you found something. Esong says, the more I think about it, the more I'm going to wait at least 30 minutes into her stream, meaning Davina's stream, to start streaming. If I don't wait until her stream ends completely. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. I'm excited then. That will be very cool. I'm going to be at my mother's getting my hair dyed. And I need to sit for half an hour. So I I really, I look forward to having something to watch. So, yeah. Um, Oops, I'm done with part one, working on part two with part three to finish it all, says Taz. And we have caught up to the chat. Awesome. All right, so we're quarter to three. I'm beginning to see a pattern developing to the way that my streams tend to work, which is that usually we're going to work pretty hard within the first hour, and then we take a break, and then we chat for the next hour, and then often I take a break, and then we work for the third hour, right? So, and I'm cool with that. That's great. That's totally fine. That's because it takes an hour to catch up on the break chat. That's a fact. It wouldn't if I skipped it, right? If I didn't take the time to read it, then it wouldn't be, it wouldn't do that. But I like to read the chat, and the reason why I do it is because if you're watching this later on YouTube, right, or if you are visually impaired, right, then all you've got's my voice. So I do that so people know what's going on, right? Aaron's style is different. Aaron just responds directly to what he sees, right? And that's fine, right? Maybe especially for his stream, we should try to set up a closed captioning function for just that purpose. But yeah, and that's cool. He and I are different. We're going to do things our own way, right? And respecting that is one of the ways in which a marriage stays as good as ours is. So, um, but that's why I do it this way, right? I don't want anybody to miss anything. Ezong says, I love it. I think it's a perfect blend of community and community progress. Well, cool. I do too. I really enjoy this social aspect. This is every bit as important to me as getting the work done is important to me, right? So I don't want to neglect it for my own sake either. All right, so quarter to the hour. I think I'm going to take my second break early. I'm going to, get all ready, and then when I come back, I'll spend a couple minutes if I didn't miss any, making sure I didn't miss anything important. Yep, me too. And then I need a bio break too, he song. Yeah, and then I will, and then we'll get into some more work. Or put a chat window up next to the main window. Okay, I've got my phone here, right? And I sort of do that now, but if I put a chat up next to the main window, this isn't like Streamlabs, right? If I want to scroll on the page that I'm on, I have to be on that page. So I can't see the chat in my screen when I am doing that. I do have my phone sitting here now, and it is running the Stream Manager, and I am keeping an eye on the chat even when I am working. But I'm also trying not to get into too much of a diversion from what I'm working on while we're doing a work period, right? So I don't know. If this is bothering people, I'm happy to hear feedback. There's always better ways I can do things, right? So let me know. DM Stretch says, if I post anything on Aaron's streams that I want to make sure he reads, I just redeem the highlight message. No need to in your streams, as you read every message. That's true. That's true. And that's why we have different channel points that are good for different things. There's no point in make me write a sentence in Aaron's stream, because he's not going to, right? Do you use that for me, right? And in his stream, you use the highlight your message to make sure that he will read it, which is sensible, right? Yeah. Okay. We'll be taking our second break. We'll be right back. There's probably going to be a little blip here. Oh, no. Okay, good. My timer's counting. See you in a couple minutes. And we're back. All right. DM Stretch says, I used to use Twitch Studio when I first started. I very rapidly switched to Streamlabs. I've been looking to get into Twitch for a while, and it's very hard to start if you don't know where you're starting. There's not a lot of good places to find information. People talk about OBS, and they talk about Streamlabs, and they talk about OBS Streamlabs, and they talk about them all like they're the same thing. So if you try to look it up, you can't find any information. I was very delighted to find that there was a point here and click stupid version for idiots like me with Twitch Studio, and I did that. And since then, it's doing what I need it to do. Right? I don't need it to do anything else other than this. I'm not doing any massive game streams. You know, it's doing the alerts for me. It's keeping track of things that it needs to keep track of. I was even able to make like a counter for the break, obviously, right? So I don't care to bother screwing around. If it ain't broke, I don't believe in fixing it, right? So, but at some point, if it does, right, then I'll do some other things. And honestly, I kind of like the fact that my setup doesn't look like a lot of other people's setups. You know, it's got its very unique look, and this works for me. So I'm sticking with it. Yeah, I don't blame people who do trade up, though. It means you're more technologically astute than I am, and that's probably a very good thing, because I can be kind of dense that way. Delzacat is about halfway done with year 7. Yay! Only 14 more years to go! I don't have to pee so much. I've gone through this coffee like it's free. Okay. Alright, we're gonna get back to work, guys. Everybody ready? Alright. And go. Okay, so Aaron told me that he was intending for a particular event to be the launch of the first interstellar war in the campaign, which is not mentioned there. Okay, no, I think that's actually in my Peridot article. Nope. That's not where I need it. That's not where it's needed either. Where the hell did I put this piece of information? Sometimes even when you organize on World Anvil, it's not organized. That's the one. There it is. Okay. Alright, so this is what calculators are for. Alright. Calculator. Skyreach was established in 4571. And then 40 years later was the event. $46.11. Okay. Alright, that's what I needed. Now, should be looking at calendars. Library. Calendars and timekeeping. Avalonian calendar. Use this link to convert any day from the Avalonian calendar to the Fomorian calendar, and vice versa. Because it's important that I do both dates in my timelines. Makara says I'm just going to be reorganizing things this sprint. Daz says nope. Years 1 to 7 are a repeating cycle, so 7 is the last year, except the 21st year, which is Rogue Tides. Rogue Tides chart will be part 3 of the article. That's cool. Okay, so the year was 4611. And probably right before that event is when they declared war. So just pluck a day out of my ass, I suppose. Wonder if there's anything going on in Harvest Moon. You know what? I'll have it correspond with a major holiday. That will piss everybody off. Is this the one I want? Song of the Golden Field. And I don't know why I have a snowflake here. It's been all kinds of errors with my icons on this freaking calendar. I had, like, green. I'm annoyed that it's not there. Song of the Golden Fields. This seems like a great day to accidentally on purpose piss everyone off by starting a war. Okay, see, I have a snowflake. Why the fuck do I have a snowflake? Snowflake is for winter. Stupid thing. Oh yay, we have a date, says Esau. Why do we have a date? A date for what? What did I miss? Stretch says, oh, for fuck's sakes, just tried putting up a stream on the calendar for after Lorraine's stream tomorrow, but it's not accepting the ASC email now. Did you add it twice? Google can be weird. If you have problems with Google, message Shy. She'll fix it, right? She's been very patient and willing to fix all that kind of stuff for people if they run into Google issues. So don't panic. Just tag her in the Discord, and she'll be happy to help you out. She's really good that way. It's a spell storm, says Daz. Date for your campaign. You got it from Aaron. Okay. Nice. That'll be in the Discord then, right? Okay, so I don't get distracted. I'll look at that later. Oh, the date that I got from Aaron for... Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yes, I see what you're saying now. I'm a fool. Okay. Yes, I have a date. I'll just go after Lorraine and announce it in the Discord. Yes, okay, fair enough, but please let Shyred Fox know that you're having problems too. She wants to know if people are having problems so we can find ways to fix it or get around it or help you to fix it, right? So, you know, growing pains while we move to the new system, and I'm sorry about that. It was necessary though, because the whole calendar was borking because there was way too much information on it. It wasn't loading properly, it wasn't taking people's events, so they had to figure out this new way of doing it, right? And, you know, I thought it was kind of a pain in the ass at first too, but now that I know what I'm doing, you know, it seems to be working okay. But yeah, I feel ya. Yeah, I do. Alright, Rumor Era. So the 21st of Corn Moon. Corn Moon is what month here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. The 10th month. Okay, so month 10 and the 21st. Yes, let's accidentally on purpose, let's accidentally make an attack on a place when there is a huge civilian celebration. Here's a good way to make people angry. Okay. The 5th of 6th month of the year minus 85. That would be the year 85 before the founding. That's how the Fomorians would put it. Alright, so we're going to add this to timeline. That's the first thing we're going to do. Where's my timeline? History of the Interstellar Wars. I may need to change all of that shit, but we're going to start by editing this. Actually, I don't think we need to edit the timeline. I think what I need to edit is historical events, right? Okay, yeah, so actually it's a diplomatic event. So let's go to historical events. Create new historical entry. First Interstellar War is declared. $46.11. Tenth month, 21st day. So actually, let's see. Would they have declared it before that? Yeah, probably. They have to give them time by the rules of war. Nah, they're not going to be the ones that declared the war. All right. I need to see something here before I do anything else. I need to see what kind of event this is. Is this like era changing, or is this like, yes, I did say it was an era changing event. Okay, so this is also an era changing event. There. Type. It's definitely not a life event. We'll call it a military action. Timelines. History of Peridot, it has relevance to. It has relevance to the history of the Fomorian Empire, but that's done in a different calendar, so I'm not sure if I do dates. We'll put it there for now. I'm going to revamp that calendar anyway. Oh wow, is that the end of my sprint already? I don't think it's relevant to either one of those, so I'm not going to include that there. Alright, we're at a break. I guess I better take the break. I see you on the calendar, E-Song, says Dinosaur Bob. E-Song says, yay! Dan Stretch says, oh, yeah, I already went over that. Okay. Focus, says E-Song. Keep me on task! Yep. Yeah, so E-Song is going to overlap the last hour of Davina's because otherwise she can't stream today, which is perfectly sensible. Mikara says, okay, I made some diplomatic strands. We'll need to experiment with those more later to make a full web. At 5 organizations so far, of which 3 are secret, I can make quite a nice web around the Alliance. That's awesome. Yeah, obviously I'm probably not getting to the making of the web itself today. So if I don't, then I will make sure to show it to you on the next WorldForge stream if I haven't gone over it and Diane writes already on Wednesday. So Bob says, I like the new look to the ASC page too. So does E-Song. New logo is fantastic, she says. Mikaro agrees, it's really nice. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, I didn't get time to switch anything over today. And I might keep what I've got because I've got kind of this theme going on. I might change it in WorldForge, but I probably won't change it in Diane Writes because I have this very spacey looking theme going on and a very science fiction-y kind of look. And Kahuna designed the original logo to look like a NASA mission patch, which it does totally. So I might keep it for that reason, but I might switch the WorldForge one over depending. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet because I like them both. So, you know, this one seems to go better with my color scheme. I don't know. So, but that's why we have options, right? So Texas, but I do like it. I like the new setup very much. That vintage radio look is just the absolute awesome shit as far as I'm concerned. Bob says, so tech success today. I was running Flowscape on stream. Good for you. That's excellent. That's hard. Nice work. Daz says, you know, after all the math I did, the only numbers on the charts are the days themselves, day 12, etc. Bob said, of course, I have no idea what I was doing with Flowscape on the map. Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch your stream today. You stream at a time of day that I rarely get to catch your stream, unfortunately. I have floaty bugs in my coffee. They're not, you know, it's not like they're just fruit flies, so yeah. Giant bunnies, apparently, he was streaming. Bob says, so I switched to playing with the new Pathfinder 2 NPC stat blocks, which was great because Tillers was on and was fixing glitches on the fly for me/us. That is excellent. It's really handy when you can do that, isn't it? Because Tillers will be like, damn it, and fix it. Yeah. And then he tagged Aaron Ree and said they look good, because Aaron would want to know that. Aaron is not currently watching my stream, so I will tell him. And thanks. That's great. Did I see that Kahuna just canceled his stream? He canceled his stream? No, I did not see that Kahuna canceled his stream. I am going to have to reload the page to find out. Of course, this is like the way old page before the new theme anyway. You can tell when the last time was that I rebooted my computer. No, actually I did reboot right before it started, so I don't know why it didn't. Maybe because I hadn't officially refreshed the page. Okay, so Kahuna's canceled and Esong has moved in. Oh, time to get back to work, guys! Roar! Well, that works. Alright. And we're back at it. I'll catch up on the chat in a minute. I guess I'm reading Esong at the end of the stream. Okay, where was I? We were on the timeline. New historical entry. With the Fomorian Alliance, known as, for fuck's sakes, the Solstice. Does that exist yet? Oh, I haven't saved this. I should have saved by now. Let's try that. The Solstice Pact. Okay. The Fomorian Alliance, known as the Solstice Pact, attacks Evergleam. I guess I don't have that in as a place yet. During the celebration of, what did I call my holiday again? Rumor Era. Okay. Is that how I spelled it? Because I'm an idiot. Okay. Rumar. Air. Ah, okay. Yeah, no, that's right the first time. R. Era. Yeah, I did it. Okay. Ritual. Tradition, actually, I'll call it. Celebration of Rumor Era. Total casualties. Number nearly 1 million in civilians. And civilian and military injuries and lives. The Avalonian acting on behalf of the Avalonian Empire declares war on the Fomorians, known space. Evergleam is destroyed, and the survivors flee as refugees into the stars. Most settle elsewhere within the Talesian system. There we go. Related article. One would think that the first interstellar war would be the logical related article. Related location. Do I seriously not have Evergleam in here? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Well, I'll save this and add it after, I guess. Well, that's what this is for. Quick content creation. Evergleam. Yeah, settlement. Evergleam was a significant political and cultural center of the Avalonian Empire. How's the sprinting going? Pretty good, Aegon. Yes. Significant political and cultural center of the Avalonian Empire. It was destroyed by the Solstice Pact. Leading to the outbreak, or no, at the outbreak of the First Interstellar War. That is all I need to know for this point. I see no reason why that shouldn't be public, and it falls under the known space category. Eventually, it's probably going to be a child article of the Talesian system. Or Talesian system, rather. Created. Now, tags. Telesia. No, this is wrong. This is my interstellar war being declared, isn't it? So, tags. First interstellar war. Interstellar wars. And then the abbreviation I gave it, which was IW1. I don't need an alternate display name. I do have some secret information, but it's not relevant right now, and I kind of want to get on to things. Since this is going to be public, I don't give a shit whether or not I don't need subscriber groups right now. One thing I do need now to do is add my related location, since I've created the Evergleam article. Save changes. All right. So obviously I got a lot more details to fill in here in the meantime. I think I'm going to double check and make sure that date is correct, because I know that one is. I'm not sure about this one. Let's double check it. Third Rose Moon. Rose Moon is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th month. Pretty sure the year should be 5041. $50.40. Ah! No, that's not right. I know what I should be doing. Okay, it's this actually I need to change. 1, 1, 350. Third Rose Moon. I thought that was wrong. Third Rose Moon, 5051. I knew I'd screwed up there. I forget how I miscalculated that. No, I think I needed to push that a year ahead. Because I can't have them enter the war. Before it fucking starts. Now can I? Alright, but I'm now getting distracted on something else that I shouldn't be looking at. I'm going to worry about that later. Let's get back to work on what we originally started with. I knew I had to do some adjustments because I'd made some changes in dates and whatnot. Okay, the pact that later became the foundation of the Fomorian Empire. Alright. Fomorian Pact, the Fomorian Axis. The founding date is probably several months before the start of the First Interstellar War. Right? So... So I'm thinking that probably they've been pissed off for a while. I should start this, the pact should be formed at least 6 months before the actual war starts. Yeah, that makes sense. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like it moved all my links around again, because this one should be for, like, the Beltane link, because that's a fire symbol. Pisses me off. Alright. So we were dealing with 4611. I'm going to finish this up just because otherwise I'll forget what I was doing. 4611. We'll try 7th day, 4th month. Now what date would that be in the Fomorian calendar? Okay. Alright. Hi, Black. You arrived just as we were finishing up a word sprint, and we're in a break at the moment, or a work time anyway. DM Stretch said, "Oh, I feel so sorry for a friend of mine. He works security on a train yard, and it has been full of chucking it down. Full on chucking it down. He's drenched. That sucks." Do it, says Dazzlecat. That's great. Kahuna canceled the stream. Bob is going with the Pirate Confederation for his article. Excellent. Esong jumped in the gap, figured, okay, that works. So she's going to stream starting, yep, so we'll be rating Esong then. Extra protein, the bugs in my coffee, the fruit flies, yep. Kill those flies with apple cider vinegar and a bit of soap, says Swan. Yeah. They're dying anyway. It's the end of summer, so... Yeah. Ooh, holiday weekend, says Dazzlecat when I had them do their attack. Yep, because, you know, and they didn't know that. They had no idea that that was the, like, that was going on. They don't know elf frickin' holidays, right? But the elves don't know that. Yeah, DM Stretch says no need to message me now, Esong. I can just join the raid. Absolutely. And I said hi to Aegon when he showed up. Kahuna's just feeling a little off after working in the heat yesterday and earlier today. Okay, that's good. I was worried that it was like, you know, I mean, still, getting heat exhaustion is not a good idea. Kahuna, you need a kick in the ass to sit down. But otherwise, yeah, fair enough. And yes, thanks for checking on him, Bob. I agree, says Esong. Esong is taking a break from sprinting to eat before streaming. That makes perfect sense. Black has arrived. Black Mega did a few words in the last bit of the sprint. 87 words. How'd you guys do? Anybody else want to talk about how they did? I think I'm going to change this date, by the way, because I don't really want it to be, like, necessarily a holiday every time they happen to do something. An elven holiday. So, silly. Walking Dead finished their pizza dinner and is ready to sprint again. That's great. We have a minute 15 before we're going to start our next sprint. Very important to take a good break. Let's see, so 16 minutes from now, that takes us to 40, 50... Yeah, this will be the last sprint, guys. Daz says, I just finished the normalist charts on the year of rogue tides now. And Bob says 100 words in chat and Discord? Well, what the hell? 100 words you didn't have before. Yeah. You're having fun. You're here to hang out. That's okay. That's cool. Yep, this will be our last sprint, and then I will shut it down for a couple moments of chat before we switch on to Esong's stream. Alright, and we're off now. Alright, so 11th day, 4th month, 466, so, or 4611, so Storm Moon, 11th day, okay, 11 Storm Moon, 11 Storm Moon, 4611 AC, which is 7 12th month. With these, it's easier to just do this. Seventh, 12th month. Year 86. Before the founding. Leader, I have no name for my leader yet. There's no family leader. It's not a subsidiary of any organization. Alright, ranks. I was working on that too. Ranks. There's a war chief. There's the Don or Donna of various goblin cartels. There is... let's see. There's probably a name, a Germanic word for, like, Germanic word for, actually Norse word, what the hell, or Icelandic if I can't find Norse, because Icelandic is basically Norse, it's really close to it, right? So I learned that. Bob says, I spent the last 3 days sucked into Crusader Kings, need a break. Why does that music sound like the Crusader Kings 3 soundtrack? I don't know. What it actually is Sirenscape, and it is a music and ambience utility for gaming, right? Or streaming. Like, you know, it's intended for role-playing gamers. And that is where you find it. And it's all like, you know, you can use it specifically. Norse word for war leader. I don't know. Hersir. Local Viking military commander of 100 men owed allegiance to a Jarl or king. Well, maybe it's Jarl that I want. Because we need, like, shit tons of, you know, people who can command armies, right? Oh no, but it was eventually redefined as someone who organized and led raids. Okay. Okay. So Hersir probably actually is an important one. Hersir. War leader Norse. So that'll be probably for my giants and my trolls. And then there'll be Jarls as well. I know what those are, so I don't need to explain that to myself. Okay, I got the goblins covered, I got the orcs covered, I got the giants and the trolls covered, probably ogres. See, ogres are always complicated when you're kind of originally stealing from D&D. Because you've got your ogres and you got your oni. So I'm not going to actually call them oni. I'm going to call them ogres. But I may steal some of their description and tradition. Because variations of ogres, right? Who invented ogres? Fairy tales. It's that recent, is it? Neat. Okay. I'm looking for a title of a war commander that I can use for ogres. There's a reason why this challenge is a community challenge. It's intended to take a month to complete, right? I'm not about to get it done today. I mean, people who do, I admire you immensely, but I am not you. This will not happen in my world. Interesting stuff. Should read the Wikipedia entry on ogres. It's fascinating. All right. If you guys want to, here. Put it in the chat. Can't hurt. I use a lot of yokai to make up into monsters for D&D. Okay, I'll look that up. But hello, Siobhan. Not going to happen overnight for me either, since there's much I need to figure out while dealing with this challenge. Well, here I am doing exactly that, right? So you're not alone. Not by any stretch of the imagination. How does this week of sharing work, says Bob? Are we not supposed to share before that? No, go ahead and share as often as you want. It's just that if we have a dedicated week of sharing, then the people who took all month to do their project, as I often do, have a chance of possibly catching up and making it into the short list before the contest is called. The week of sharing is dedicated sharing time so that you can hit your social media and try to get enough likes to get in the short list. Right? So, and I usually need it, so I appreciate the fact that they do it. That's how it works, that's all. It's supposed to be done by then, but... Yuko? Yuko? I see what you're saying. Yeah, this is cool for, definitely cool place to get ideas for monsters for your, Dungeons and Dragons game and whatnot. But the problem is that I am borrowing from cultures of origin for many of these creatures that I've created to establish their culture and elements of it. So I'm concerned about cultural appropriation when dealing with Asian cultures, right? I don't have any issues with that with Western cultures. I know perfectly well what the actual origin of most of the cultural context is. And what I'm saying is in my book that basically the human take on, say, the Vanir and the elf take on the Vanir are two entirely different animals, right? So it doesn't have to be identical to the human version, but there are some elements that are similar, right? But you know, we live in a time where you have to be careful about doing that with cultures that are not your own, right? I have a mixed European background, I can do that, right? But I can't do it with Asian backgrounds because I'm not Asian. So And I'm concerned about, you know, fucking it up and being disrespectful. So I don't want to do that. I just need a word for a leader. And French is not far enough away. I know too much about French is the problem, so it wouldn't sound... So I'm thinking too hard about this, obviously. Okay, I got an idea. We'll run with that. Echo. Ogre Warrior. But these are the ranks that are going to be important in the organization structure. And that's good enough notes for now. Now I know what I'm doing with that. Public agenda. The Solstice Pact is banding together, represents banded together for mutual protection of Fomorian peoples of space in the wake of increased elven aggression. That's their story anyway. Alright, and that is it. That's our last sprint, guys. So, 10 minutes. Alright. Aegon says, I was going to do the challenge, but I really need to focus on finishing enough of my world to start running in it. Yeah, that's fair. You don't have to do all the challenges. You're not required to, right? Do what you want. It's cool. Siobhan says, so I figured out that my druids act similar to NATO or the UN, at least to some degree, and as it was originally intended. Clever. Okay? Siobhan also says, maybe try using Google Translate. Yeah, I could. Aegon says, I have a Japanese culture in my world based around the early Edo period, so I do a lot of reading up on that time. That's great. That's really cool. I am hardly an expert in the various Asian cultures, right? Black Maggot says, I recommend just doing what you want as far as cultures go, so long as there are no stereotypes. Then you can always have a sensitivity reader if you're that concerned. I also have a heavily Asian-inspired world, 90% of it. Now, the difference between you and me is that I'm sure you have watched a lot of anime, right? I've watched very little anime, really. I've watched a lot of old-school stuff, right? And I've watched some things in recent years, being the past, like, you know, since the 90s. That's recent years. But that mostly my kids have recommended to me. Right? So I don't feel that I have a grounding enough of how that world works that I could draw from anime, right? Nor do I know enough about traditional Asian cultures that I feel that I could reasonably, you know, do that. I don't know. Have you? Like, I was reading your story. Black Maggot writes God Noise, which is a manuscript that you can check out on World Anvil's manuscripts, and I think he is an amazing writer, by the way. He's a poet, he has a way with words, it's awesome, right? Yeah. But I don't know, like, I got a very anime kind of feel to it, right? And that's cool. Like, graphic anime, don't get me wrong, it's obviously a dark world, but I got that feeling. Perhaps I'm making assumptions. Which goes to show you how much I know about the subject, right? So I really don't feel comfortable doing that. I am far too afraid of doing something terribly and horribly wrong, right? I may steal a teeny tiny bit of stuff for the Oni among the ogres in particular, right? See, because then there's the other issue, and the other issue is, well, why are there no non-European cultures in your world? Because I don't know anything about them, and I'm afraid of writing them because I don't want to offend people, right? So that's why. Not because there's no interest in doing that, right? But that's not even true. I actually have some, I'm trying to do Arabic culture better than D&D did, but it's still not a real world Arabic culture, right? So I'm trying to, but I know more about that than I do about Asian cultures, right? So, and that's where the major human character of the story comes from, right? So, Arab culture. Arabic is a language. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so Arab culture. I'm trying very hard to, do a better job of that than Al Qadim, right? And, but it's not specifically any Arab nation in particular. So, and it's not monolithic either, right? It has sub factions and whatnot. So, yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do with that. And, it's complicated, right? E-Song says, Maya Angelou has a beautiful quote along the lines of, do your best. When you know better, do better. No one is expecting anyone to be perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with that. I will have to do something specifically, at least drawing from Japanese folklore in order to do the Oni correctly, because that is where they come from. And if I don't acknowledge that, then I am not being respectful. And if I don't include the Oni, then my ogre culture is not as cultures, I should say, because there are multiple or ogre cultures as there are with all the races in our universe, right? It won't be as rich, right? It's important to have that. And people actually should be concerned about facing Oni in battle because they tend to have, like the ones that they encounter are professional warriors, right? Black Maggot says, I understand what you mean about being afraid because of today's toxic society, but I highly urge you to continue doing your best. Definitely keep going. You gotta, you gotta try, right? And yeah, it's a toxic environment. I agree. It's toxic either way. If you try to be respectful, and there is a faction out there. Okay, now granted, okay, I'm going to clarify right now. I am very much on the side of social justice. I consider myself. You call me a social justice warrior. I'm like, thanks. Right? I'm. But there are people out there who are just determined to get their ass in a sling, it seems, about anything. And rather than educate people and try to help them do better, they just want to, and it's mostly white people, right? It's not normally people of color who are getting all mad because you've done something offensive to people of color. And when people of color get mad at you, you should take that under advisement, And then there's things like, recently there was a kerfuffle on Twitter because Adele was celebrating a Caribbean holiday that they celebrate in her region of the UK, right? So she tweeted herself in Caribbean dress with a particular hairstyle, and a bunch of American people of color got mad at her and said this was cultural appropriation and it was bad. And then a bunch of Caribbean people got on the case of the American people and said, who the fuck are you to determine the world's black culture? Are you the spokesman of all black people in the universe? Right? We think it's fine. So, it's complex, right? I'm not saying either side is right or wrong there. I get where everybody's coming from. I really do. But it's complicated. So, Yeah. Aegon says, I just try to be respectful to the material I use for the RPG. It's always going to be a touchy subject because my world deals with a lot of hard topics like slavery, racism, and fascism. Mine too, and I try very hard to make those non-real world cultures and peoples so that there's no built-in assumptions that will carry into real world consequences. That's one of the beautiful things about fantasy and science fiction. You can kind of deal with those elements there, right? And as a matter of fact, part of the point of my story is to unpack these assumptions and some of the racist and fascist tropes that are built into high fantasy, right? That's something I'm doing, right? So yeah, it's titchy. Siobhan says, I fear that by not knowing enough about a culture, I would do a severe injustice to it. Correct. Exactly right. Esong says, there are extremists on both sides. Polarizing dialogue is rarely helpful towards an end goal. I agree, except that when the other side is saying, Jews will not replace us, we're done talking now. Now it's fists time. Aegon says, I know Black says, yes, they're very toxic online, both sides, I agree. Yeah. Granted, most people aren't on the side of those people, right? We all know they're an outlier. Okay? And you can't group everybody on one side of the political divide with these outlier assholes. You can't do it on the other side either. So... DM Stretch says, I know a black woman who actually gets offended if she's called colored and not black. She hates it. Different terms in different areas, and that's another thing. And I'd like to caution the Americans in my audience in particular. Your culture is not the world culture. What you think is racist or cultural appropriation in your world, in your country, does not apply elsewhere in the world. It doesn't even apply to your neighbors to the north, 90 or about 25 to 30% of the time, right? At the time when what is the proper term? Native Americans, I will say, right? We're getting upset about white people using sage in their ceremonies. For the past 20 or 30 years, saging had become part of Canadian gatherings when we mean to be of mutual respect, right? You have the moment of prayer and you have the saging, right? And then you acknowledge everybody's culture and tradition, right? So I actually, when my book came out about witchcraft, because I was dealing with saging and it's something that's commonplace here and nobody minds, First Nations Canadians didn't mind, you know, they were actually encouraging of it, right, if you were approaching it with respect, but because I happen to be white, Americans were upset with me. So just don't make assumptions, guys. Just because it's one way in your part of the universe doesn't mean it's that way for every other part of the universe, okay? Right? Yes. Where am I here? Black Maggot says, I don't believe in cancel culture personally. Things are being done for a reason. They've gone on for too long. Yes. Right? The status quo needs to change. Yes. It's just happening so rapidly people can't keep up and feel as if everything is being canceled. Yes. I agree with you 100% on all of that. But the other problem is because change has needed to happen for so long, people have lost patience with the wait, and now they are demanding it quickly, right? If you insist that there is no change for long enough, people are going to go, well, fuck it, let's just break the whole thing and start over. And that's pretty much what's going on, in my opinion, in politics and social issues everywhere right now. And I will also say, we asked for it. We asked for it because we didn't listen. Okay. Esong says, I know someone who objects to being called African American because they are not from Africa. And then there are people who object to being called black and prefer African American. There is no way to please everyone. My observed current, as far as I know, the current social media culture says that we should use black and people of color, right? But if I am wrong, or if you do not like that, correct me, and I will be quite happy to do it any way you want, right? Just as I will be happy to use whatever pronouns you prefer, right? You decide your identity, I don't. And I think that's just a polite rule of thumb, right? If I tell you my name is Jane, you call me Jane, right? Was I born Jane? No, right? I'm telling you the other way, this way, that way. No. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that name is a name I took for myself, right? You can call me that, right? And or you can call me this one, which is the name that my parents gave me, and that's fine too, right? And it depends on the context that you're dealing with me in. But if you insisted, if I introduced myself to you as Sable, right, and you insisted on calling me Diane, you would be an asshole, okay? Just don't be an asshole. It's that simple. Okay. Esong says the best we can do is, see, there you go, right? The best we can do is ask the people we're closest to what they prefer and honor their preferences and do the best with everyone else. 100% behind you. Black Megan says, exactly, there's no way to please everyone. Aaron says, to everything there is a season. Dazzlecat, agree. Yep, crackpots infect both sides, says Daz. Absolutely. Do your best, be honest, list your resources, and be open, I say, says Black Maggot, but definitely list your resources. Yeah, that one's a hard one too, right? Because there will always be arguments about the legitimacy of your resources. But, fair enough, right? Aegon says to Black Maggot, yeah, I believe cancel culture actually does the opposite of what they're wanting it to do. Yes, shoving someone into a dark corner doesn't teach those who actually need to learn. No, all it does is teach them that, people were mean and, yeah, you're right. Nobody learns anything. I agree. Work with people, right? And if there's a point where people insist on being an asshole, and at that point, I think it should be done. At this point, I'm done with J.K. Rowling. She's just insisting on being an asshole. She refuses to learn or listen from anybody else. I'm done, right? There's been hints that there's been problems for some time. People have been talking to her about transphobic views, right? About, trying to get credit for being woke in her stories when she, does Twitter canon instead of what is actually written in the books. And despite the Twitter canon, she didn't actually follow through with any of it when she had an opportunity, right? She claimed Dumbledore was gay. She claimed that he and Grindelwald had a relationship, and that is why he was ineffective in acting against Grindelwald when Grindelwald made his fascist rise to power. And none of that was reflected in the Fantastic Beasts that I saw. So you blew it, right? There's a point where people blow it. But otherwise, yeah. Be patient. Try to work with people. I even wrote her an article and I linked it trying to explain, but at this point I'm done. Yeah, there's a limit. Siobhan says, my novels will cover several stigma topics which are considered unseen but have extreme repercussions. Yes. Swan says, love is turned into hate and hate into love. It's very weird. That's profound. I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're not wrong. We do need to try to be more understanding. I think we really do. If we don't talk to each other, we're not going to accomplish anything, right? We've gotten to the point where we've got, the two school gangs fighting each other like, it's high school. You got the skaters over here and the heads over here, and all they do is meet on Saturday night to beat the shit out of each other, and nobody accomplishes anything. Stop. Okay. Black Maggot says, well, that's the thing, Aegon. People on both sides go too far. However, things on one side are definitely not worth listening to more than half the time, I believe, and we all know what side that is. Again, remember that people are simply fed up with the status quo that has existed for hundreds to thousands of years. Yep, those sides need to be listened to and respected. Yes, okay, I agree with Black. Let's not get into false equivalencies over here, right? I would say that even if this side, this being my left hand, right, is saying this whole system is horrible and corrupt, We need to burn it all down and start over. That's the extreme on that side, right? We need to break the capitalist system, we need to break the class system, and we need to find a better way. Okay? That's the extreme on one side. The other side is saying Jews will not replace us, and marching around with swastikas and torches. This side just wants to break society. It doesn't want to hurt people. Not equivalent. Not equivalent. And that's taking it to the extreme. Like, extreme. We know that most people who are conservative don't really believe any of that. They don't. It's absolutely a minority of horrible people, right? Most people who are conservative don't understand why privilege is a problem because they've never had to confront it. It's not that, they really believe in this myth we've been told about everything is equal, this is a meritocracy, you can do anything you want, all you have to do is try. They don't see that the people in other situations do not have their same advantages, right? It's like that quote about George Bush, right? They were born on third and think they hit a home run, right? That's but they're reasonable people. Usually if you point things out individually, they'll listen, right? And on this side, let's be honest, because this is the side I'm on, right? It is, right? And on this side, we have some people who are like, oh, you read Orson Scott Card's book once? I hate you. Get out of my sight. I've been banned by people on Twitter because I have read books by authors that they think are terrible. Okay, so go read my Goodreads reviews, right? Because you'll find that when I read those terrible books, I'm honest about what they are. I say, yes, Edgar Rice Burroughs was horribly colonially racist. I don't think he realized that he was, but he is. Some of it is disgusting, and you can't read it. But the story's cool. So you make your own judgments, and that's not enough for some people on this side, and I don't think that's accomplishing anything. I think that it's better to tell people, yes, you're right, Edgar Rice Burroughs is racist, and yeah, and here's why they're racist, and why he is racist, and what this problem is. So yeah, it's a balancing act, right? Yeah, Aegon says, yes, extremism isn't exclusive. Both sides have taken it to the extreme. That's true. Black agrees with that. Don't get me started on J.K. Rowling. Yeah, unamused face. Agree with you 100%. Makara says, well, let's put it like this. I believe that nobody was originally deliberately racist with the whole Black Pete issue. Black Pete is complicated, says Black Maggot. And Black Pete is also something that is not part of my personal culture, so I cannot really offer an intelligent opinion on it. I can say, this doesn't look right to me. That's what I can say. Esong is going live soon. Esong's probably already live, so we should hurry this up and get over there. Makara says, but when people decide to actively defend Black Pete rather than listen to the criticism of multiple racial stereotypes used and become really aggressive in their defense of it, then as far as I'm concerned, they're showing their true nature. Yes, listen to people when they're telling you, this is hurting me. This is hurting me and people like me, and this is why. I would think that nice people would listen to that. Not, you must adapt to our idea of what is right and nice. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to skip through some of this, guys. You guys are all having your own debate, and that's totally cool. Right? That's totally cool that we're having a debate. We started the conversation, and that's fine. A riot is the language of the unheard. Good quote, McCarl. Yeah, that's the problem. People have been asking nicely and nothing's been getting done. So now it's time to not ask nicely. That's my experience with life has taught me that pretty much. Sometimes you have to stop asking nicely and you just have to start telling. Yeah. Okay, good night, McCarl. Thank you for joining me. 1 a.m. Siobhan, check your Discord. All right, thank you guys for a really fun time this afternoon. I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed this lively political discussion at the end of the stream, which did not result in anybody getting like totally shit stomped in the chat. Well done for being grown-ups, guys. Seriously, that is awesome. We need more conversations like this. Conversations that are honest and heartfelt, right? But are conversations. Esong's totally shit stopped. I'm out. That's hilarious. Alright, we're raiding Esong right now. Remember, of course, that the raid call is prepare to be boarded because we are the Sable's privateers. I have made new emotes, but they have not been approved yet. When they are, we will have new emotes that will be very helpful to our rating, for example. 24601. Alright, because that's Jean Valjean's prison number. Alright, that's why she's the jailbird. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Join us tomorrow night. Toy Soldiers Old School is back at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific. We're on the calendar. You can check it out. And then Tuesday, Aaron is back with Ask an Old GM, 1 p.m. Pacific. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you over at Esong's stream. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.